The man died right in front of my eyes, struggling until his last breath. Every day, I witness someone's death just before it happens. But I have never tried to save anyone. Birth and death are controlled by Allah alone. I am not someone who can change anyone's fate. Fina rushed over and said, "Why did you pull yourself away from me and run over here? Did you already know that the man would have an accident? If you knew, why didn't you save him?" "Look, Fina, don't talk about things you don't understand. How could I have known beforehand? I ran here for a different reason. Now stop bothering me and go to class." Saying this, I left the place. Besides my mother, no one knows about this secret of mine. I went straight to my most familiar place, far from the city. There are two beings who always help me with these matters. One is a woman and her mute son. He has been mute since childhood. But I know they are not human. No one else knows their whereabouts except me. Now I need to go to them to find out about the Habitra and devil from last night's dream. They are the only ones who can answer my questions. I walked through the dense forest. Apart from the crunching sound of dry leaves, there was no other noise. Suddenly, I saw a bird's nest lying on the ground. I went closer and examined the nest. Two underdeveloped baby birds lay dead. They might have fallen due to the wind. I picked up the nest with the dead baby birds and started walking again. After a while, I reached a small hut. A woman's voice came from inside. "Who is it?" I replied, "The one who is friends with death." The woman and her child came out of the hut immediately. I handed the bird's nest to the child. He was very happy and went a little distance away to start eating the dead baby birds. The woman asked, "Why have you come?" "Since my father died, you have helped me a lot." When I first realized I could foresee people's deaths, I was very frightened. I was terrified. You then told me that everything would be okay one day. There is a big mystery behind it that I would understand in due time. I have been very patient, trying to make sense of it all. As per your advice, every Black Friday, I pour water on my father's grave. But you never told me why. Yesterday was Black Friday. While pouring water on my father's grave, strange smoke came out from it. What was that an indication of? And I heard a conversation between Habitra and the devil in my dream. They mentioned Afrin Galib. I came here seeking answers to all these questions. The woman gave a strange smile and signaled her mute child to go inside the house. The child smiled with a blood-stained mouth and went inside. Then the woman said, "The mystery you have been carrying in your heart for so many years is very close to being revealed. Very soon, everything will become clear. A few days ago, Afrin and Galib came to see me. You wonder who they are. Afrin is a human like you, but Galib is a three-eyed jinn prince. Just as you were seeking answers to a mystery, Afrin is facing the same enigma. Find them. They will lead you to the root of this mystery." I asked in astonishment, "Where can I find them? How are a jinn prince and a normal human together?" The woman replied, "That is a long story. The Habitra you saw in your dream saved Afrin from the devil this time. Habitra is also a three-eyed jinn. But from what you've said, it seems Afrin is about to face a great danger." I thought for a moment and said, "So now I have to find this Afrin. Thank you very much. The day our bus had an accident, I would have died with my father if you hadn't saved me. Since that day, I am indebted to you." The woman said nothing more, just gave a beautiful smile and went inside the house. I turned around and started walking again. Now I have to find Afrin and Galib. They hold the answers to all my questions. Just then, I felt someone following me. I stopped. There is no one here who could harm or scare me. So, I slowly turned around. I didn't see anyone. Scanning the surroundings, I noticed someone hiding behind a tree. I could see a part of their clothing. I took out a knife from my pocket. I always carry it with me. I quietly approached the person from behind and was about to stab them in the chest when I realized it was Fina. I let go of her neck and said, "Fina, what are you doing here? How did you get here? I almost killed you." Coughing and catching her breath, Fina said, "I followed you from there." "Who are you really, Ziad Bia?" And who were that woman and the child? I grabbed Fina's hand and started walking, pulling her along. You shouldn't have come here, Fina. I told you to leave me alone. If you keep this up, one day I will kill you myself. Your police officer father won't be able to do anything to me. I am not an ordinary person like you all. If you want to keep your head on your shoulders, stop following me from today. Fina said, please don't push me away like this. I promise to stay with you always, no matter who you are. I don't want to lose you. If you want to kill me, then go ahead. I can die at your hands not once, but 1,000 times. I shook off Fina's hand and said, don't give me those movie dialogues. Go straight home from here and never cross my path again. You haven't seen my true self yet. Fina smiled slightly and said, you haven't seen my true self either. I look one way with makeup and another without it. If you mess with me too much, I'll show up without my makeup and give you a heart attack. I said irritably, do you think I'm joking with you? With that, I brought the knife straight to Fina's eye. But Fina didn't flinch, didn't even blink. She just kept smiling. I realized that scaring this girl was impossible. So, I put the knife back in my pocket and said calmly, look, Fina, leave me alone. This is a matter of life and death for me. I have to find 2 people as soon as possible. Danger is surrounding me. Fina looked a bit surprised and said, what's going on with you? I'll help you find them. If you give me their names and addresses, I'll tell my dad and he'll find them. Why your dad? No one can do it except Allah. You might not believe it, but one of them is a jinn. Not just any jinn, he's the prince of the jinns. His name is Galib. The other one is Afrin. She's human, but the ones after her are also after me. That's why it's crucial to find them. Hearing this, Fina laughed and said, you're kidding, right? A jinn prince, with a girl? What nonsense. You're trying to scare me away, aren't you? But I won't get scared, and I won't leave you. I looked at Fina with wide eyes. Seeing this, she stopped laughing, stared at me for a moment, and said, is this true? I nodded and said, yes. And the woman and child you saw earlier weren't human either. They were jinn. Hearing this, fear appeared on Fina's face. She started to cry and said, I want to go home. I said, yes, go home, Fina. Staying with me means wandering around with death. By then, we had left the forest and entered a populated area. I noticed 3 men walking together. 2 of them had no heads. Nearby, construction was going on in a large building. I realized that 2 people were going to die there soon. To convince Fina a little more, I said, you see those 3 men over there? In a few moments, 2 of them will die. Fina smiled and said, then you can save them if you want. You've shown enough to scare me, and I believe you. But isn't this a bit too much? Before Fina could say more, a large iron pipe fell from the top of the under construction building onto those men. One managed to move away, but the other 2 couldn't. The pipe crushed their heads completely, killing them instantly. Fina looked at me with a terrified expression. I smiled slightly and said, I could have saved them, but that would go against Allah's decree. Their fate was death, so they died. And yes, I live in a different world from all of you. I hope from today you'll stay away from me. Got it, my poor Alia bot. With this, I sent Fina home and went back myself. It was night by the time I returned. I told my mother everything. Mother said, since the time is near, you don't need to worry. You won't have to look for them, they will find you. And the most surprising thing is that next month, the 13th also falls on a Friday. This has never happened before. 2 consecutive Black Fridays. So, something is going to happen on the next Black Friday. Be prepared for everything. Now, don't worry. I've put food on the table. Eat and go to bed. My restlessness kept increasing. What is going to happen? Will I be able to save myself? It's all written in my fate. There's no use worrying. I ate and went to bed in my room. Suddenly, I felt like someone was calling my name. I sat up, alert. The voice was coming from my bathroom, saying in a thin voice, "Ziad, be careful." The voice kept repeating, "Ziad, be careful." I got up, turned on the light, and approached the bathroom. As soon as I got there, the voice stopped. I slowly opened the bathroom door and entered. There was no one there. Suddenly, I saw my reflection in the bathroom mirror. I stepped back in fear and hit the wall. I saw that my reflection had no head. What am I seeing? Does this mean I will die soon? No, no, how can this be? Just then, my phone started ringing in my room. I quickly left the bathroom and looked at my phone. It was Fina calling. Annoyed, I answered and said, "Why are you calling so late? Didn't I tell you not to bother me?" In a trembling voice, Fina said, "Ziad Bia, there are two tall shadows standing in my room."